everybody, this is Anime Game on Taco 95. Last episode, while we're getting Alpha and Spaceship ready, we learned a horrifying truth about Sion's Thorns. Apparently, Sion's Thorns are going to be used to destroy both planet Renan and planet Danon. And here's the other horrifying truth. If we manage to get rid of the thorns that Sion has, then she will die, and there's nothing much for us to do about it. But Alfred and his friends do not want to give up on Sion, and they want to figure out a way how to get rid of the thorns without killing Sion. So right now, Alfred and his friends are now in LENEGIS, and apparently it's not just a space station, it's a whole town area. And when we first entered the city area, it was in a wreck because the space station was used to shoot the beam at the planet Dana. And now we're about to figure out what to do next. So what's gonna happen next? Let's go play.
What could be so important? It's worth destroying people's livelihoods and homes in the process. It's just unbelievable. Uprooting an entire city as if it were mere building blocks. Someone's got an awful lot of questions to answer.
From how it looks, they must be siphoning off astral energy from Dana and then sending it to Rena.
But why do all this? What for? Surely they can't be using all that energy for the crown contest.
Whatever their purpose, disrupting their siphoning process alone won't be sufficient. Not while we still don't know what their endgame is.
He's right. We need to stop this from happening ever again.
This Forbidden Zone might be where we find some answers, right? So what are we waiting for? Let's get moving!
You heard him. We don't have time to stop and chat. Let's move.
Oh, another cutscene.
So, I've been wondering, do you think when LENEGIS was built, it was even made with people living here in mind?
What do you mean?
Well, none of this happened by coincidence, right? They must have designed it to transform like this. But then, if they knew people were going to live here, you'd think they would have taken that into consideration, to avoid all this chaos.
Ordinarily, yes. You'd think so. Trust me, as far as we were concerned, LENEGIS was our home, nothing more. No one knew about all this. It makes you wonder whether the city was just built on as an afterthought. But if so, to what exactly?
Sorry. That probably sounded weird, huh?
Not at all. Sometimes it takes an outsider's eye to help you notice what you've been missing all along. This place is a mystery, that's for sure. Something tells me we'll find answers where we're going, though.
Yeah, you're right, Xion. I'm sure we will.
Okay, meanwhile, I need to go look around town and see. I guess I need to talk to 3 people. Oh, and there's a math action.
Oh, dear me. What an unspeakable mess this has all become. Just look at the state of our city. Even the Zeugles have stopped heeding our commands. Whatever did we do to deserve this?
You really have no clue what might have caused this?
Would that I have. Alas, there was no warning, no prior decree. His Highness must have deemed it unnecessary for us to know. We have no choice but to grin and bear it. But do my eyes deceive me? Could I really be standing in the presence of his lordship, Dohalim of the House Ilkaris? I believed he was on Dana.
Your eyes do not deceive you. It is I, one and the same. I have returned to fulfill a special duty, the details of which I cannot divulge.
As your lordship wishes, First, LENEGIS mutates beyond recognition. Now this unexpected visit. The Sovereign's plans are inscrutable indeed. The Ilkaris house has produced a great many lords over the centuries. I shall be praying for your victory in the latest crown contest.
Your good wishes do me an honor.
Okay, so I'm guessing I'm gonna go this way. Oh, someone needs help. In all my years, never have seen potential healing art. Thank you so much for taking the time to help this old woman like me. Ooh, I got a new title, nice. But I don't have enough, so...
I wonder just how many people have been saved by Shion in some form. I'm impressed.
There's rumors flying around about people being saved by a Renin vision of beauty.
Vision of beauty? That's a bit much.
Alphen had better stay on his toes.
Where do I come into this?
Everything will be okay now.
I know the basics of healing arts, but my skills pale in comparison.
Your lordship. Oh, what a great honor it is to finally meet you. I descended to Dana during the last crown contest also. Alas, when the contender I was backing failed to clinch the title, I returned. I witnessed the deaths of so many slaves.
Indeed.
Sorry to interrupt, but we're looking for a woman dressed all in red. Have you seen anyone of that description?
All red, eh? No, I can't say I remember anyone like that. I imagine she'd stand out somewhat, too.
Yeah. What about down on Dana during the crown contest? You didn't see anyone like that hanging around the lord you were serving?
What's with all these questions? I've never seen her, okay? Not recently or otherwise. Why do you want to find her anyway?
Never mind. Forget I asked. Sorry to take up your time.
Okay, I think I should talk to one more person and...
Is everything okay? You look a little lost.
Oh, yes. I can't seem to find my way home is all. I was just about to make my umpteenth attempt at a new route.
I was hoping to head this way myself. The situation is a real pain, huh?
I suppose the Sovereign knows best. I daren't stay here too long, though. A lower caste can only linger around these parts for so long before I outstay my welcome. I was hoping to avoid it, but maybe I'll have to go that way after all.
You mean you know another way round?
Lord Dohalim Ilkaris! But how? Last I heard, you were in Dana competing in the crown contest.
Yes, strange, isn't it? If you know another route, we'd be grateful if you could tell us.
But of course. Please forgive me. There's a wall that sprung up ahead of here, with what looks to be an entrance in it. I thought maybe it was a passageway between the different quarters, but I've no way of knowing for sure.
It's worth investigating, at least. I shall go and assess the situation. In the meantime, wait for me here. If it looks safe, I'll come and let you know.
You'd really do that for me? A lord troubling himself for someone of my lowly status?
Our lot in life is of little consequence. We are both Renin, first and foremost.
Oh, why yes, my lord. Thank you.
Well, we've canvassed the city for information. What do you think?
No one has the faintest idea what's happened to the city after all. They haven't heard the news about the crown contest either.
You'd think that info would easily find its way up here. Has it always been like that?
Probably.
Not to this extent. Which would indicate that something's suppressing the truth. that LENEGIS is under some kind of control.
Given everything that's happened to their city, the people here seem weirdly okay with it all.
Yeah, that one guy even said his Zoogle had stopped listening to him. If that's true, these people are in big trouble.
Everything that happens here is attributed to the Sovereign's will. It's the way people have been conditioned. Their belief runs deep. Nothing happens devoid of a reason. To them, it's all part of the Sovereign's grand plan.
The Sovereign's plan. There is one thing I'm still not sure about. Just who is this person ruling over LENEGIS?
The Sovereign, of course. He rules from Rena while presiding over both Rena and LENEGIS.
Without the lords or anyone in the middle doing his dirty work? Isn't Rena at least the same size as Dana? That's a pretty big dominion for one person to rule over. I would have thought ruling LENEGIS alone would be difficult enough.
The points you make are valid, though I confess I'd never given it much thought before. Here, the Sovereign's total authority is as natural as night turning to day. Come to think of it, I know nothing of the nature of how Rena itself is. Shion, have you ever been... No, forgive me. Have you met or crossed paths with, or even heard of someone who's actually made a visit to the homeland?
No, I haven't.
Neither have I. In which case, I would imagine that... But no, surely not. Can it really be that no citizen of LENEGIS has ever been there?
Hold up, what are you getting at, Tohalim?
Assuming what I believe to be correct, it's possible that no one on LENEGIS has ever laid eyes on the actual Renan homeworld itself. No one but the Sovereign, that is.
But what about trade and communication? There's got to be a flow back and forth, surely.
Not if the Sovereign is imposing his will on LENEGIS single-handedly. It could be a one-way street.
But I thought you said that the Sovereign's all the way over on Rena. If that's the case, can he really rule directly over LENEGIS from so far away? What if something were to happen to the city, like now?
I'm beginning to wonder what the nature of this Sovereign even is. Alphen said he was forced into the role, right? Just before the ceremony. But Sovereign is also the title given to the almighty Renan ruler. So which one is it?
Whoever wins the crown contest inherits the throne from his or her predecessor, before becoming ruler over all of Rena and LENEGIS. Thereafter, that individual is known as the Sovereign. Though, it would appear that the current ruler has gone silent. As for how Volron factors into all this, at this point, I no longer know what to believe.
3 centuries ago, I became the Sovereign here on LENEGIS. No, not just became, I was forced to. Me, a Danon. 300 years later, we cross paths with Volron, who also bears the Sovereign's crest. That's not the only thing we have in common. We both became Sovereign without winning the crown contest.
Do you think Volron was made Sovereign for the same reason? Because of that ceremony?
Probably.
I can't say for sure.
Or probably not.
It certainly sounds like it.
But that would mean that 2 Sovereigns would need to exist at any one time. One whose job it is to rule, and the other for ceremonial purposes. We never did see Volron's body back in Ganath Haros. Is a new ceremony underway with Volron at its center this time? Could that be what's causing all this strange activity here?
Wait a second. You don't think Volron and the Red Woman are working together, do you?
Uh-oh.
The ceremony can't go forward without the Renis Alma. The same one that the Red Woman stole.
There's something else the ceremony needs. A maiden. And unless there's another one out there aside from me...
Questions, questions, and yet more questions. Ones that it seems will remain unanswered, until we can establish the Sovereign's identity.
If the Forbidden Zone really is off-limits to everyone but the Sovereign, that seems as good a place as any to start. For the sake of liberating Dana, too.
Then it's decided. That's where we need to go.
One of the citizens mentioned a passage that she thought might lead to another section of the city. It could point us in the right direction. Let's go find it.
Okay, before I move on, here's another cutscene.
I didn't realize Renan suppressed their own kind, too.
And yet,
I didn't realize it
weirdly,
either.
none of them seem to mind. Am I the only one who finds that strange?
It is the way things have always been, so no one thinks to question it. You have experience in that regard yourself, do you not?
Unquestioning acceptance of your own servitude. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Even so, the quality of life here seems much higher than any Danon city we visited. I used to think it was impossible to build an ideal society without wealth. But I suppose having it doesn't always mean people are treated fairly either.
More to the point, not a single citizen seems to have even heard of the Red Woman.
What if she's not here? What if it turns out we're looking in the wrong place entirely?
It's still too early to say anything for sure.
For all we know, she might be able to blend in, move around unnoticed. I say we hold off judgment until we've exhausted every avenue.
Oh, there's no cussing.
Tell me, Dohalim, has that skill of yours got a name?
And what skill would this be, pray tell?
You know, when you're talking to people around town. The way they suddenly become putty in your hands.
I'm afraid I don't quite follow.
I do. It's called friendly intimidation. Look imposing and speak in a deep, booming voice, and presto, you'll have people wrapped around your finger in no time.
I would never stoop to such scandalous tricks. Any feelings of intimidation are solely in the eye of the beholder.
So there is a knack to it! How do you learn it? Can anyone do it?
Now you've got me curious. Is there special training to master?
Let's see. An obsession with being elegant is a must. Oh, and it helps to be old-fashioned, too. Bonus points if you speak in a way no one can understand.
If you've a bone to pick with me, it'd be quicker to just come out and say it.
What? They look up to you, that's all. I'm just helping them along.
Hey! What's got into Alvin and Law all of a sudden?
I can barely understand a word they're saying. And what's with the weird poses? Was it something they ate?
I hope you're willing to take the blame for this one.
I wasn't expecting them to take me so seriously. I'll go and have a word with them.
Okay then, now. We're gonna go take to the other path over there. Okay, what's going on?
With nobody left to run the show, I wonder what the people here are supposed to do. I mean, they're sovereigns up on the Renan homeworld, and all their lords were sent to Dana.
But Dohalim was a lord, right?
Only current acting lords have power. Renan society is quite strict about such matters.
Even if the other lords were still around, I doubt they'd be able to do much about the situation.
I wonder what they'd think if they were here to see LENEGIS now.
They'll probably either be shocked or they'll probably accept it as normally.
Balsif, Cannabelt, Almadria, and Volron. Now that I think of it, aside from Dohalim, we know next to nothing about the other lords.
Well, yeah, why would we? To us Danans, they were just enemies we needed to overthrow. Nothing more.
I know. But seeing Renans in their own city, going about their day-to-day lives, it gets you thinking.
It feels strange to imagine the lords living here too, you mean?
Yeah, a little.
If you're that curious about them, why not try inquiring with some of the locals? Every lord in their household has their share of supporters here on LENEGIS. And luckily for us, the people here are unaware of the events on Dana, which means they should be more inclined to talk to us.
Oh, I got a side mission. Nice. So I'm guessing I'm gonna go talk to the people who might know some information about the lords, and it's a good thing they don't know what happened to them because I killed them off the four lords. You wanna know which lord I support? Why? Are you confessing for someone? I'm with his most excellency Ezra Tuzley. You probably know him better as Lord Balsif. I know a lot of people consider him to be a giant brute, but believe me, I really he can be a aggressive man. But what those people don't realize is how much he looks after the members of his house. It failed to say that House Charlie doesn't enjoy much esteem. Those of us who saw it will be the first to admit that. But His Excellency always stands up against any who would mean us harm, of what we can be sure. His efforts in Crown Contest aren't the only for his family, but to improve the standing for each and every family member of his house.
Yes!
I owe so much to His Excellency, I would never dream of serving another lord.
Balsef had it in him to care about someone other than himself? Really?
It's possible. A change in position can do much to alter one's perspective.
So even he might have had something he wanted to protect.
Okay then, what about you? Lord Duvaline, you have returned! Ah, and I see you brought some aides with you. Do you remember who I am, Lord? Surely you must, yes? Not only I support the House like Cartas, but more specifically His Lordship personally. So much, I've been trying to sell my appreciation of His Lord to any who will listen. In fact, I was planning to publish my exclusive writing on the subject through the very terminal for all to read and enjoy. But since the line appears to be cut due to the recent turmoil, I am unable to upload them. I know, since you are here, I'll just read them out loud. Ahem. There exists a most handsome man, a man who witnessed beauty, whose every word and every symbol is a divine poetry. He hails from the famed house La Calas, and his name, Lord Duvaline. Music is his passion, the arts his great love. The scores of bullets on card man of the Zen cannot begin to compel to his majesty. So fine and majestic is his posture, why the mere thought of me brings me to ecstasy. Once he had become a sovereign, Rena would bloom anew, ushering in an era of prosperity for our grand civilization. Until the glorious day come, I shall forever be playing for his victory, morning, noon, and night. Well, what do you think, my lord? I pour my whole heart into hoping to capture your essence. Wait, I forgot to mention anything about his lordship's love for collecting thieves. I must take this time while the lines are down to a quiet. Only then my masterpiece will be complete.
I guess she intended to spread it throughout all of LENEGIS then.
Good thing the lines were down so she couldn't.
It almost sounded like she was praising them too.
Maybe there was more to the guy than at first glance.
I shall refrain from commenting.
Huh, strange. There were 3 people that wanted to talk, so I'm guessing someone else is not gonna mention one of the lords. Well, I never to think anyone would try to tear me away from the House of Footless.
What?
Huh? What do you want? Don't tell me you look for Duvaline or that dreadful Lord Aldrea, do you? You don't? Well, don't scare me like that. To answer your question, I come from a family that has served the House Footless for generations. Indeed, I've been doing I can support Lord Gotta Bell behind the scenes so he might emerge victorious. Many think of him as a cool man, but I insist they are utterly mistaken. Though I don't deny he can be strict, he puts the Rena's interest front and center like no one else. Why, he evaluates that rather than stay comfort to LENEGIS. We should get along with colonizing Dana and expand our horizon. That way we'll become masters of both worlds and overturn our current minority status on the Dana surface. That is why he seeks to become our next sovereign. Tell me, is there a greater, more noble ambition than that? I think not. It is a pursuit of power for the advancement of all kind. It is what makes him an extraordinary lord, a model above all others. Though I was unable to accompany him myself, my two sons who have been blessed with the honor of joining him on the surface. As their father, it fills me with an endless pride.
Ganabelt was so horrible to people, yet he was invested in helping Rena succeed. Doesn't that seem just a little inconsistent?
Yep.
I'm perhaps biased in this matter, I admit. However, in my mind, while all lords vie to become the next sovereign, they're also meant to serve as guardians of all of Rena.
It seems like Ganabelt also had people he cared about until the very end.
So why couldn't he extend that to us Danans?
This area doesn't look as badly damaged as that other district we went through.
Indeed, the effects...
Okay, there's 2 stars left, so I guess one of them is gonna talk about Aldrea and the other one's gonna talk about Fordwan.
of LENEGIS' transformation appear to be less pronounced here. Or, viewed another way, this area was simply luckier.
Pardon me.
This area falls under the soil justification of House Cartus, and I must ask you to depart at once. Surely you don't claim to be ignorant of our famed house ruled over by the most royal Lord Aldrea. If so, I urge you to listen well. In fact, I bid you listen very carefully regardless. Have you ever noticed how in the history of the LENEGIS, only few women lords had emerged to compete in the crown contest? Many have theorized that why it must be, but Lord Aldrea dodged the doubts of any naysayers through the sheer might. In fact, not only she did uprise her father and her previous family master, she also removed her older brother to claim the seat for herself. She is a woman who stops at nothing to get what she wants, who gives her enemies nearly the slightest opening to strike. Truly, Lord Aldrea is the woman of talent. No one in all Rena better exercise the virtues of all nation Makugali. Soon, the age of glorious woman sovereign reigning over the LENEGIS shall be upon us at last.
I guess her willingness to stoop to any low came from a survival of the fittest worldview.
And some people here not only shared her belief, but championed it as morally right too.
That doesn't make it true. Too bad they couldn't see through her.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a too bad thing.
Ridiculous.
Huh, how loathsome. Oh, I was just reading about 4-1. Can I help you?
Okay.
I was always a supporter of Lord Your Highness myself. If it weren't for his sudden death down on the surface, likely still would be. In my eyes, Lord Grey is a true water lord. I don't believe for a second he perished in some accident like they say. As for 4-1's getting hollers, don't get me started. I heard he enslaved not only Danans but his fellow Renans. We may live in a society where the victor goes to spoils, but his action goes against what we as people stand for. Besides, what sort of family line is the house of his anyways? I have never heard of it until he came along, which means they mustn't been among the low-list drags of society. That lineage could suddenly produce an astral energy comparable of ascending to the Lord is unheard. None of it makes sense, not to mention all the out here around here lately. What is happening to our people?
It's seems like the people on LENEGIS don't really know much about Volron either.
I remember being quite surprised when the Lord of Ganeth Harrows changed so abruptly.
Didn't you have any doubts that something suspicious was going on?
On the contrary, remember, we Renans are raised to accept everything at face value.
Huh, so I guess I'm done with this side
When
mission.
you think about it, the families of Renan lords must see them differently than the rest of us.
Yeah, despite the brutality they're known for.
They must have had a lot on their shoulders, carrying all the weight and responsibilities of Renan society.
Renans live in a world where strength and power determine their position in the social hierarchy, so they tend to grow up fiercely competitive. But their loyalty to their people is also strong. It's what brings them together against outside forces, and nothing exemplifies that more than the Lords.
That's what makes them the guardians of all of Rena, so to speak.
Right. It's the same reason Balsif hated my guts, and Ganabelt went after you. Because we're threats to Rena.
Guess that makes you an even bigger oddball than we thought.
So, Alphen, have you gained anything from all of this?
Yeah. I think it's made me realize that the Lords were all people, too. Balsif and the others, they all had their own circumstances to deal with as they went through life.
Yeah, but still, just because they had loved ones in their lives doesn't mean...
I know. What they did was horrible. I'm not trying to dispute that. But at the same time, they weren't incomprehensible monsters either. They were individuals, just like the rest of us. So I guess what I'm trying to say is...
You're saying that they weren't bad because they were Renans, or because they were terrible monsters. Even if they did terrible things, they were still just people.
Rinwell.
Am I wrong?
Not at all.
Being a Danon doesn't make you a good person. And being a Renan doesn't make you a bad one. I think that's something we've all seen.
Shion and Dohalim definitely make a good case for it.
And I'm going to keep doing my best to make sure I earn that trust. As a fellow human being above all else.
And with that, I finished the side mission. Yay! Okay then, so it's time for me to move on, and let's see. Well, I'm guessing I should go this way. Oh, there's something over there. Oh, another cutscene.
There's something I just don't get.
What is it?
The crown contest itself has always gone ahead as planned, right? In which case, the current sovereign of Rena should be whoever it was that won the previous contest.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, who was it then?
Good question.
Unfreaked Milgras, the former lord of Cislodia, if memory serves.
So then this Han-freaked whatchamacallem
Nah,
is the current ruler of Rena?
whatchamacall
Last I
him.
heard, yes. Though, admittedly, I haven't actually seen him since the end of the previous contest.
You're saying that ever since becoming sovereign, he's never actually shown himself on LENEGIS?
I guess over holocom maybe, but not in the flesh. Same thing goes for the sovereign that came before him.
Now that you mention it, I don't recall anyone ever visiting LENEGIS from the motherland, sovereign or otherwise.
And that never struck you as a little bit odd?
When you live here, it's as if you're conditioned not to notice all these strange quirks and discrepancies. The question is then, by whom? And to what end?
A new Renis Alma is supposedly created to coincide with every crown contest, meaning each victor is awarded their very own. In other words, if that's true, there should be as many of the things out there as there have been contests.
True, but going on what we witnessed in Pelagian, it didn't look like the sort of thing that could be made to order. But if even the victor's speeches have been part of some grand deception, then where are they? Quite frankly, I'm not even sure what to believe anymore.
You and me both. Though we are Renan by blood, neither of us even knew that such a thing as a Dark Master Core existed, remember?
With any luck, the Forbidden Zone might give us some answers.
No use standing around here chatting about it then. Let's get a move on.
Yeah, let's keep on going. Uh-oh, not cussing.
Doe?
Faria.
Varia? Isn't that the person that Avakir guy was...
But why are you here? Wait. Don't tell me you've given up on the crown contest and come crawling back home from Dana already.
Uh-oh, she's getting suspicious.
Even though you were willing to kill Tarnigan to secure your position as Lord, you still...
Kill?
I'm here to take care of something. If you wish to continue this conversation, I only ask that you wait until I'm finished.
Oh, of course. You always did prefer to take the coward's way out. Even after 7 years and living on that Danon rock, you haven't changed one bit. But let me tell you, I haven't changed either. Not a day's gone by the past 7 years that I haven't hated you.
If killing me will bring you peace, then so be it.
Dohalim, what the hell are you saying?
I know, are you
I have
crazy?
business to take care of. If it's vengeance you seek, I will grant you it. But you must wait. My sins are legion. Let me finish what I came to do. Then you have my word. I will let you do whatever brings you peace.
Sure, that's it. Run away like always. You don't even have the courage to die. No wonder you leave it to someone else. You're just a coward!
Oh, the white woman!
Dohalim.
I apologize that you had to witness that.
Is it true? What she said about you killing someone?
Yeah.
Each of us have our pasts. I am no exception.
Before, back in Menancia, you mentioned having taken a friend's life over the throne. Is that what she meant?
Yeah, if they were
Mistakes I made
flowing
there
but
were
of a
not my first,
flashback,
and
yes.
may not be my last. I will say no more.
Did you mean what you said? About letting her take your life if she wanted to?
She has more right to my life than anyone.
But you can't just...
Whatever happens, I have sworn to put an end to the crown contest, and to ensure continued coexistence in Menancia. I have no intention of expiring before I do so. There are far too many questions I still seek answers to. Besides, you have just as much reason to kill me as she does.
Dohalim!
Yeah, why would you say that?
Forgive me. Some things are best left unsaid.
Yeah, for those of you who didn't understand about Dovalin's past, several episodes ago, there was a flashback where Dovalin was battling against his friend, and when he won, he accidentally killed his friend, and his other friend, you know that girl who was yelling at him a few seconds ago? She was crying so hard that she hated Dovalin for that. And she still hates Dovalin for what he did, so... Let me see. Okay, still need to walk over there. Oh, let me just grab this. Okay, let's keep on going. Okay, I still need to walk all the way around here. Let me just grab this.
I'll try to make that new recipe with this.
All right, but I'll decide how spicy it is.
Okay, what's going on now?
Wow, this place is beautiful.
Yeah, it must be some sort of rest and leisure area for the locals.
You think? Man, these Renan sure know how to live it up, don't they?
Is something the matter, Dohalim?
Before I went down to Dana, my friends and I, we used to gather at this very spot and play music together. Avakir, Faria, and Tarnigan. That was a lifetime ago now.
Tarnigan. He was the one that Faria mentioned, right?
Yes.
He was once my dearest, closest friend. As well as Faria's betrothed. Despite Faria's lower class upbringing, she possesses a tremendous talent for music. Entranced by her playing, I helped her overcome her sense of inferiority and introduced her to Tarnigan and Avakir. It was a time of great joy. 4 people bound only by their love of music, with no care for social standing. Only the next song, the next melody.
A friendship based on mutual respect, and a society where everyone is a prisoner to their social class. You really are different, Dohalim.
I suppose it's natural you would see it as strange.
I would have, once. Now, I think the idea of breaking away from society's constraints and choosing your friends based solely on affection is something beautiful that's worth cherishing. Besides, it was that way of looking at the world that laid the foundations for coexistence in Menancia.
Your praise does me too great an honor. I was merely following the wishes of my own heart. And even then, it only lasted until the crown contest began. After that, Tarnigan and I became fierce competitors for the position of Lord. Tarnigan had fallen for Faria. By becoming Lord, he aimed to wrest her from her humble origins and raise her to the highest echelons of society. But fate was not so benevolent.
What happened?
He ended up killing his
Tarnigan was no
friend.
match for me in combat. On a level playing field, he wouldn't have stood a chance. But he was desperate and low on options, and he couldn't stand the thought of defeat.
You mean he resorted to dirty tactics to try to win, right? But then why does Faria think... Wait. Don't tell me she doesn't know.
How could I tell her? Combined with the trauma of losing her beloved, and by her friend's hand, no less, she would have been devastated.
So instead you let her go on hating you, so she could use that hate as a crutch for her grief?
That's not the same as running away, though.
It is exactly the same. Unable to face the loss of my friend and the burden of my duty. Instead, I decried my fate and looked away from what I'd done. As for what happened after, that you already know.
But if you hadn't become Lord, Menancia wouldn't be what it is now. The Danans there would still be suffering under Renan oppression like before.
Shion's right. What other lord would have treated me as you did? Anyone else and I would have been dead long ago. You've saved so many people, Dohalim. You saved me. It's thanks to you that I'm here today. So, try not to blame yourself. The burden you've placed on your own shoulders is too much for anyone to bear.
Frank as always. But I shall do my best to heed your advice.
Do you think he'll be all right?
Yeah, I think so. He's got Kisara.
It's important to have someone like that.
I didn't realize how difficult it is just to be there for someone.
Sometimes just knowing someone's on your side can be enough. And he knows, Shion. I promise he does.
I hope you're right.
Uh-oh, looks like someone overheard us.
Alphen,
Yeah?
I never appreciated until recently just how much you were always there to support me.
It goes both ways. You've helped me keep going more times than I can count.
Maybe, but I still wanted to say thank you.
I see a medic and supply officer over there. If they know you're with me, they'll likely offer their assistance.
Okay, that sounds good. So let me go make sure if I got everything I needed. Okay, so I'm in the pathway, hopefully to the Forbidden Zone, and let's see. Okay, I guess I have to go walk around there, and then there, and then there. And then this is where I need to go.
Damn it. LENEGIS soldiers.
Any way we can avoid fighting them?
That all depends on them. Whatever happens, be ready.
Yep, they're gonna fight us.
Well, so much for them not wanting to fight. Oh,
I am Lord Dohalim of Elden Menastia. I command you.
The rest of the city must be erased.
No. Have they been brainwashed too?
Brainwashed or not,
Probably.
they want to fight, they got one. Take it! It's almost too strong. Be my guest. No further.
Please now.
You picked the wrong fight. I'm not done. Roll him down. Dragon Swarm.
This ends now.
Consider yourself finished. Shine. The enemy wields our too. Coming through. Ha! Now. Scarlet Inferno. Benediction. Double Demon Fang. Now. Commander of Heaven. Phoenix Cyclone. On your knees. Stardust. Dragon Swarm. Double Demon Fang. Bloody howling. I'll smash you. Dragon Swarm. Shion.
This one's got your name on it.
Action to action.
Those soldiers seem different from the citizens we've come across so far.
Yeah, they weren't big talkers, that's for sure. They just attacked without warning.
they weren't in the least bit fazed by Dohalim's presence either.
Indeed. They seem to recognize us as enemies, nothing more. And yet, traditionally, LENEGIS hasn't been high on threats. A few frenzied Zeugles during experiments here and there, but not much else.
Their glazed-over eyes reminded me of the soldiers and slaves we met back in Ganath Harros. The ones in blind devotion to Volron.
I've never seen anything like that here on LENEGIS before.
Maybe someone doesn't want us here, and the soldiers are their way of letting us know.
What with the Red Woman, the Sovereign, and Volron, you're starting to develop quite the growing list of adversaries. At least we'll know to keep our wits about us.
Yeah, so we gotta be careful. Okay, let me see. Whoa, that is a giant seagate. And green for some reason.
This one will be difficult to predict.
I never miss.
Ignite!
By the power!
Dragon Swarm!
These ones can run rings around us. Oh, but no starting wind.
Negative
Calm
gate!
down,
Double Demon Fang!
Burning!
Do back! Can't stand back! I'll trip it up. Double Demon Fang! You're mine! This is it! Take this! I owe you one.
Holy land! Do it! This ends now!
Consider yourself finished. I can feel my power growing.
The giant seagate is blocking my way, but okay, I still need to kill it anyways.
Go no further! As if the normal creepy crawlies aren't disgusting enough. Sleep now. By the power of Can you do the same for me?
No further. Dragon Swarm!
More where that came from.
Coming through! Ha! Melt! Scarlet Inferno!
Searing flame!
Double Demon Fang!
Damn it! Out of that'll bring you down! Dance in the wind!
Negative Double Demon Fang! Shattering!
Healing circle! Step into the fray!
This one keeps charging us!
That's what my shield's for. Get behind me.
Got it! I'll leave it to you!
Dragon Swarm! Holy quiver! Holy land!
You picked the wrong fight!
Chain between heaven and earth!
Dragon Swarm!
A wailing dancing lightning! Finish without
You're mine! Can you take it?
A whirling
You're mine! It's over!
wind will heaven! Here! Flame of fury!
You're mine!
Steel! Blazing spear! Pierce eagle!
You're mine!
Will this help?
Take this!
More with that healing circle!
It's
Raging
over!
cascade!
Try harder!
I'm ready! Feel!
Dragon Swarm!
Raging storm!
Anything in armor is all mine. Armor won't save you.
Double Demon Fang!
Illuminator dragon!
Coming through! Ha! Melt! Scarlet Inferno! Double D! The flame inside me yearns to be let free!
Deity!
Burn it
A
out!
wailing dancing lightning!
Dragon Swarm! No further!
Ready! I never miss!
I'll blind you with the dust!
Dance in the wind!
Denied.
Here's a healing arm!
Rending you apart!
First aid! Magic
Dragon
cannon!
Swarm!
In here!
I'll blind you with the dust!
Double
Demon Fang!
All of that was made one!
Rending you apart! Double Demon Fang!
Lightning orb!
Ready and
Where
ready.
would that came from?
I'll smash you.
Need to pull myself together. In the wind!
It's time to finish this. Die. Consuming wildfire.
Lunar
Double Demon
Paralysis!
Fang! Burn in hell!
Lunar Blast!
No further!
I'm all stuffed up!
Double Demon Fang!
Annihilation! Crazy Radiation!
Wolverine Alpha!
A whirling struggle!
Seismic Rupture!
Wind of heaven! By the power of flame!
Megasonic Thrust! You're mine!
In the wind!
You're finished! Another incantation ruined! Megasonic
I'm
Thrust!
ready! This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
Hey! Poodle's quivering! I think we're about to be real lucky!
Okay, that was a tough fight, but I managed to get some materials and uh-oh.
I won't forgive you.
Fire in the hole!
Far enough.
Not on my watch! Lightning orb!
Double Demon Fang!
That makes
Engaging! Mine! Dance in the wind!
Carve through armor.
Feel!
Fire support!
Leave the ensnared to me.
Can't get out of this! It's over! Release! Dragon Swarm! Raising you up! It's over! Hold nothing back! You're mine! Coming through! Ha! Melt! Scarlet Inferno! The flame inside me yearns to be let free! Ha! Double Demon Fang! Elusive deed! You require help! Dragon Swarm!
Take this! Anything in armor is all blind you into dust!
Dragon Swarm!
That's my cue!
Shut him down!
I can carve through armor!
My shield!
I'm ready!
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
I know fine weapon material when I see it.
Hey, look at that enemy!
An opponent like this should be easy.
Now you'll learn! You going!
Lunar Demon Fang!
Lunar Crimson!
Not today!
Too late to talk over our differences?
You got fury!
You're finished!
A whirling struggle!
Oh, come on, wake up, wake up.
Double Demon Fang!
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
The flame will roar!
Double Demon Fang! Coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno!
I'll heal you all! Air thrust!
Dragon Swarm!
In a bind?
A whirling dancing
Pull myself
together!
I'm ready!
Smoke! Look sharp!
Lightning Tiger Blade! My exploits are bearing fruit.
Ooh, a treasure box.
Those soldiers don't seem to have any qualms about attacking on sight.
Is someone making them stand guard over the Forbidden Zone?
Probably. And there's another giant mantis.
Let's see what you've got.
Death on the wing! This glacial field! Here's the evil game between heaven and earth! Freeze Lancer! I will pass out the handshake! Force of regeneration! Dance in the wind! Lunar air thrust! Glacial field! Pierce evil!
Eat dirt!
Leave the torch to me!
Lunar Rondo!
Lightning orb! Here I go! Dance in the wind!
In a bind?
Field! By the power of the sun! Blah blah blah! Burning strike!
Shine!
I can
Lunar
see
Rondo!
I never
Force of
miss!
regeneration!
Purge malevolence!
Regenerate! Dragon Swarm!
Let us take to the fray! Even prepared to free from the grave.
Lunar Rondo!
I can carve through armor!
It's on! Lunar Rondo! Eat dirt!
Deity!
Lunar Rondo! Lunar Rondo! Starter!
It's time! In a bind?
Take this! It's over! Dragon Swarm! Coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno!
Elusive Deity!
Megasonic Thrust! Here! Megasonic Thrust!
Everlasting jump!
Negative hit!
Being interrupted!
You're mine! You're finished! You're mine! Megasonic Thrust! Here! You're finished!
Anything in armor is all mine! Now you see what I can do! Seismic Russia!
The flame inside me yearns to be let free!
Now we're never...
Here I come!
Take this!
It's over!
That'll bring you down!
You're mine!
Leave the charges to me!
Megasonic Thrust! Here!
Between heaven and earth!
Megasonic Thrust!
A wailing dancing alliance!
It's over!
Savior!
Can't charge my crowd could easily be faced.
Just as well, I'm here to stop.
It's over! Dragon Swarm!
Elusive. This is some punishment.
Stay away from my friend! Dragon Swarm!
Burning strike!
Dragon this one's all... Not today! Dragon Swarm!
Do it! Lost!
Demons descend! Flashing bang! We may be a touch beyond our depth.
We barely got a look at the thing.
Okay, it looks like I'm halfway there, but I'm gonna go stop and take a break. So until next time, this is Anime Game Otaku 95. Bye!